Ay, ay, ay. Poof, poof here. I don't see you, Rock.
Oh yeah,
There you are.
there. Okay. Okay. Sorry. First time figuring it out. How are you? And we can change our resolution so it's not so close. Oh, that's okay. All right, that's better. How
I'm
are
good.
you?
How are you?
Okay, I'm great. Let's see. There's something in the chat
Are we
already.
live?
Oh, it works on YouTube. Yeah, we're live. That's
We're
it. It's 11
All right, it's
o'clock.
working. Fabulous. Good afternoon.
It's working. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Rakesh Jotwani, or Dr. Rock. Nice to see.
Yep, I'm Dr. Lori Marvis and Chief Medical Officer of Mora Medical, and we're super excited this is our first, so please be with us as
we figure out our
technical side.
That's right.
This is a new system. But we're really excited to share with you about the work of Mora, and really hoping that you guys will share with people that you know, or come and check us out. Tell your doctor to refer patients to us, because we're really excited to share what we're doing. We are a lifestyle medicine practice. What that means is that we help patients get well, utilizing really the tools such as better eating, stress reductions, better sleep, exercise, all those amazing things. But we check labs, we monitor medications, you get one-on-one treatment with a physician or PA that is certified in this. We're big fans of a whole food plant-based diet, and we run group visits. On occasion, there's one-on-ones, but primarily we focus on bringing individuals together in a group so that you can help each other and build that community of people who want to get well. And so we are looking to run specifically plant-based circles, people who already bought in or maybe not really sick but need some little help. We call them circles. These are our group visits. And we also run regular circles, meaning anyone who has, let's say, diabetes, or if they want to lose weight, or they have high blood pressure, and they're just not sure how to incorporate these healthy lifestyles or turn into a healthy lifestyle, what they're already doing. So it's really important that we provide that. And so we also utilize insurance. That's really, really important. We do have a cash pay option for those who need or want to use that, but we are in Florida, Texas, California, Colorado, Ohio, and New York. And so if you are in one of those states or know someone who would benefit from our services, please refer them to us, and they can go to mora.com. You can see that mora.com scrolling across the bottom there, and we'll be really happy to help. We'll have someone call them and really get them in a place to be in a healthier state. So that's our main thing. And then we're going to start having these weekly lives at the same time, same place, same time. So YouTube and Facebook. And we're here to answer your questions. Is it about the practice, or if you have a health question, it'll be myself and Dr. Rock or some of the other of our clinicians. And we're super excited to have you guys.
Thank you, Dr. Lori. Dr. Lori, we have some of our colleagues here. I'm going to add them to the stream just so they can introduce themselves.
Yes.
All right, here is...
really close.
I know. This is...
We're learning.
We're learning. Hi, this is Christina Lascano. She's one of our physician assistants, PAs here at Mora. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Christina. I'm one of the PAs at Mora Medical, and I'm just really excited to be helping patients in this way, promoting lifestyle change, as we know, a lot of research shows that can be the best way to control our chronic disease. So excited to answer your questions.
Okay, great. I don't know if we have any questions yet. One thing we wanted to share, Lori, you shared a little bit about lifestyle medicine. Do you want to talk a little bit more for people who aren't aware of kind of what is that field of medicine? And
Right. So I think it's important to note that we're regular doctors, we're MDs, DOs, PAs, we're trained in the United States or board certified in the United States, residency trained. So we understand that there is a place and need for medications. We're not saying that we're we're not foo-foo or craziness. So I just want to put that aside, that we are physicians and dual board certified. So for example, I'm board certified in family medicine, you're board certified in internal medicine. And,
Right.
you know, we also have that lifestyle medicine board certification. And there's some, just like any specialty, there is certain criteria that you have to meet minimally to say that you are a specialist in that area. And we like to think that we are, because of the board certification, but also just because we view a human in a different light. So it's not a matter of what I can write for you in a script pad or some type of intervention to help you. It's a matter of, what can you do for yourself? How can I help you along the way and make sure you're in the healthiest state possible? Now, does that include some medication sometimes? Sure. But if a lot of times we don't need as much or a medication at all. So that de-prescription or de-prescribing medication is a really big thing, especially when it comes to type 2 diabetes, hypertension. And the primary goal for all of us is to have you in a better state so you can live a longer health span along with a longer lifespan. And those pillars are basically focused in on a whole food plant-based diet, or at least as much as you can, restorative sleep, movement daily. That may be a combination of aerobic, it's like cardiovascular type exercises, or resistance training, or combination of their both. We also look at stress reduction, or maybe it's, stress is always going to be part of our lives, but how we respond to stress. And then the other pieces to that are community, which we really try to, hone in on with the groups, because we find that the more people you bring into your space and you can align with, the more likely you're going to be held accountable and really succeed. And then, of course, avoiding those things that we talk about, like reduction of alcohol consumption and definitely stopping smoking. The more we can tune into those things, the better your health's going to be. So that is the big picture.
Great. We have a question, actually. Tammy asks, great news about accepting health insurance. Is there actually clinics or all telehealth?
Right now, we're completely virtual. So it'll be all telehealth.
That's right. All right. One thing that comes up a lot, a question, Christina, I think you might have suggested this, so maybe you can answer it, is kind of, people hear the word vegan, they hear vegetarian, they hear plant-based, and there's like, is that one and the same, or kind of what's the difference?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. And so I think there is some confusion about what the different terms mean. So a lot of research shows that a whole food plant-based diet, or a plant predominant diet, is the most helpful. And what that entails is eating foods as close as they come to nature, basically. So eating whole vegetables and, well, not just a whole vegetable, but eating vegetables and fruits. And it can be cooked. That's a question I get a lot. Does it have to be raw? You can cook the vegetables on a whole food plant-based diet. It's actually beneficial to have a combination of raw and cooked too. But it's vegetables, fruits, whole grains. Whole grains include brown rice, quinoa, farro, millet, those kinds of things. Whole wheat breads, whole wheat pastas are also okay. And then also seeds and nuts in limiting a limited amount. So that's, and then beans and legumes, that's another big portion of the diet. So that's what a whole food plant-based entails. And then vegan is when you don't eat animal products. So you don't eat eggs or cheese or dairy or meat. And then vegetarian really is not eating any animal flesh. So that would be like meat or fish. Usually that's vegetarian. And then pescatarian usually is when you don't eat like chicken or beef or pork, but then you eat fish. So those are kind of the differentiations. The one big thing about the difference between vegan and whole food plant-based is that with a vegan diet, you can still eat processed foods. And we know that a lot of the processed foods aren't so great for our health and our longevity. And so limiting those has been shown to be beneficial.
Great. Yeah. The other thing I would say, which is that a lot of these food companies know now that plant-based is something we should advertise. Like, people want to eat more plants. Now, we want people to eat more plants because we know it gives you the best health. They want you to buy their product. So they are not incorrect in saying all those chemicals come from plants, and they're selling an illusion that they're selling you something healthy, right? This isn't true for all processed foods, but it's true for most. So that's just a word of warning. If you're at the store and now everything will tell you it's gluten-free, plant-based, and has 12 grams of protein. And so ignore all that and realize that we talk about whole food plant-based, just like you said, right? Whole foods. So, the best whole foods don't have a label, is what we always like to remind people. Cool. Let's see. Do we have any questions now? Oh, go ahead. You want to say something, Lori?
Yeah, so I was just looking at one of the questions. Susan says, if one is following a very low fat, whole food, plant-based diet way of eating and has a low C peptide, such as 1.6, when would that one need to consider insulin? So first of all, 1.6 is fine. When you start dripping below 1 or 0.8, that's when I've seen patients really struggle, making sure they can have enough insulin to process the food that they're consuming. And that kind of relates to basically, a type 1.5. So if you have a low C-peptide and you have elevated blood sugars, I would start running in those antibody tests that we can see that you may be attacking your pancreas. So you may have a delayed onset of like a type 1. That's the best way to describe like a type 1.5. And so majority of people at a 1.6 don't require that. What I would suggest would be, speaking to someone in regards to what type of foods would help negate the need for any type of insulin. There are other medications like Januvia that will actually help the insulin hang around a little better, is the easy way to put it, and can actually slow that process down. So I've definitely found some luck there, and then we can avoid insulin as long as possible. And so it kind of preserves the pancreatic function. So there's that piece. And yeah, so it really depends on where your blood sugars are, what your A1C, what we can, negate with just dietary intervention, maybe lower glycemic foods, things like that. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you. Maybe I'll take the next question. It's from Kimberly. Can you tell me more about the group visits or circles? How does that work? Yeah, for sure. So they're just that. They're group visits. We call them circles. It's a fun kind of way to refer to them, and it reminds us that we're all linked. And each week you will come on a group call. So these are actually medical appointments, right? So they're physician or physician assistant led. That's one thing to point out, is that this is part of your therapeutic plan. Part of your treatment plan is to come through one of our circles. Well, what are we doing during those circles? First of all, we're sharing with each other our collective desire to make change, right? So you're not just there, but you're there with 6, 7, 8, 9 other people who all want to take control of their health, improve their health so that they can live their best life. So it's very powerful to be with so many people every week who are sharing that and sharing your successes and celebrating your wins and troubleshooting with you. And so there you are. You have a physician or a physician assistant who's there troubleshooting with you, who's listening to you and helping you figure out how to make these changes sustainable in your life. And along the way, we also serve as your guide. So we're giving you the information that you need to be successful. So plant-based eat, just all the pillars that Dr. Lori talked about. Whole food, plant-based eating. There's an emphasis on that because we know that's a very powerful medicine. We know that when you eat that way, you can reverse most of the chronic disease we take care of. And to do that, you need to learn how to cook, make things that you enjoy and make it easy in your life. And so that's what we support you in doing. We give you recipes. We have one of our colleagues who's not on today. She makes videos. She's made videos putting together simple breakfasts that taste great and are also good for you. And in that way, you start to learn how to make this possible and doable in your life. Now, if you're already eating this way, it's also an opportunity to learn about the other pillars of lifestyle medicine. We have so many people who come on and they say, I eat a whole food plant-based diet and and then we talk about movement and we talk about stress and we talk about sleep and how these things can be optimized in your life specifically. And in doing so, we are already seeing so many lives change. So many people who make changes and didn't realize what was possible in their life, didn't realize that they could start eating this way. They could start moving their body and it could feel really good. And suddenly we have these conversations about maybe we need to come down on your medication. No one has ever told them that before. It's always been the opposite. You need higher doses. You need higher doses. So it's not just that they're doing, better in terms of health, they're doing better in terms of their life. And we go through a 10-week journey in that way. And we check labs usually at the start and then at the end so that, you can see the power of this medicine, of lifestyle medicine. You can see your cholesterol dropping. You can see your blood sugars normalizing, not because we're starting you on more medications, not because we're starting you on more pills, but because we're helping you make sustainable lifestyle change. Yeah.
And I would just echo the benefit of that circle and that group is wonderful. I know some patients get nervous about being in a group setting. And we've had a lot of patients that have just at the end of the circle, the end of the 10 weeks, they're just so excited to have made some connections. And some of them even get together outside of the circles because they've made friends. And so I think that's another huge benefit of it being in a circle and then in a group. And then also people learn from each other too, their questions. If you're on the shyer side and you're, maybe like I'm a little on the shyer side and I may not ask a question.
That's right.
Versus somebody else might ask the question that I was thinking. And so it's helpful sometimes that people actually will learn from other people's questions. They'll learn from other people's struggles. And then even if they're having different struggles or different goals, it's amazing how much we can relate to each other and support each other. So I would just echo how I have seen personally in my circles, how wonderful that group setting can really be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything you want to add, Dr. Lori?
No, I think that's fabulous. I was just sharing our page to some folks. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube, please share this link to any groups that you feel like would be beneficial or to people so they can see this. And then this is going to be recorded and archived on the Mora Medical page on Facebook. And then it'll always be here on YouTube as well. It'll render and show. So please share this. It's really important that we get the word out and help as many people as we can. And so, but yeah, the group dynamic is so important because, there's 4 layers of accountability, right? So there's the accountability to self, which I feel like it's hard, right? Talking to ourselves, we're really good at utilizing words and things that hurt ourselves and really detract from the important message of looking for health. Then there's the accountability to maybe one other person, your spouse, a person at work, a friend, a sibling, a parent. And so that becomes outside of you. So there's that external factor, which will help. Sometimes it really helps with as far as looking at, promoting you, helping you when you're in that tough day. But then there's the group. So we're looking at the group. So we're going to encourage you to do not only self and partner with someone, bring someone along to the group, but also to the other members in the group. And it's really fun to see the dynamic change over the course of time, help one another. And then there's just a public accountability, right? So, we're really encouraging people, if they feel comfortable, to go onto Facebook or go into their community and say, I'm doing this challenge for myself. And so now you have these 4 layers of accountability and they really start stacking up. So if you're really struggling to get started and stay going, past the honeymoon phase of excited about the New Year's resolutions, that would be a great place to start. And so again, please share this link because we really need you guys to help us find the people that need help, because you obviously know more people than we do and you're our community now. And so we're super excited about that.
Oh, that's great. And actually it's February 1st. So almost half of resolutions have failed 1 month into the year. So, but on the other hand, we know they don't have to, if you know how to make sustainable change. I think that's one thing I want to emphasize with lifestyle medicine and what we do is it's not just that we're telling you what to do. Okay. I heard this great quote from a health coach last year. She said, Coach Meg of Well Coaches, she said, people don't make change because we tell them what to do. People make change because of conversations. And to echo what my colleagues are saying, we have very powerful conversations in these circles. And that's where the change happens. And to witness that is very powerful. And I feel very grateful. And it's, yeah, it's the way in which, if you have asked yourself, why can't I make change in my life? These levels of accountability and this level in particular that we provide is a powerful way to help you make that change. All right, we have another colleague here. Kelly. Oh, Kelly, your video's off. I should have told you I'm adding you to the stream before I just... If you're able to come on, Kelly. I saw you were in the... There you are. You want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm a PA with the group. I just got off a circle. I just finished a circle. It was fantastic.
Oh, good. Yeah. What was that's the beauty of being virtual. You can be in the circle 1 second and then come here and be with us the next.
Yes.
Great. Kelly, we were talking about the circles. Actually, somebody asked, like, what are the circles like? And we all just sort of were reflecting on that. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, I do find that it is really powerful for the accountability piece and then the camaraderie that starts to develop within the circle between people, and then having someone who's there to kind of guide along and say, yeah, this is just like what you said, about how, I had a patient in one of my circles who had been whole food plant-based for 4 years and has diabetes and hypertension and had been eating whole food plant-based. And he thought he was doing everything right, but he was eating a lot of processed whole food plant-based or vegan foods. And he hadn't really seen a lot of dramatic changes. Well, he now has seen dramatic changes by going mostly to whole food plant-based. Actually, he's all in whole food plant-based. And he has stopped several of his medicines and he feels great. And he's lost some weight in the journey too. So, you get back what you put in. And so he's gone in 100% and he's getting 100% result. It's just been so fun to watch him and how he's gotten excited about his journey. And how, what did he say the other night? He said to me, he goes, I wrote it down. He said, I am going to not go out of this world in a wheelchair and without my limbs. I'm going to still be able to dance when I go out of this world. And I just thought that is just such a great statement to say. So, yeah, my circles, I've had so much fun. I'm going out on my own 2 feet, not in a wheelchair, not without my body parts. That's what he said, quote unquote. So it was really fun. My circles have been really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Lori.
I was just going to say, kind of off of that note, is like, who do you want to move into this body? It's like, you have one body in this life. Do you want the sick person to move in, or do you want to try and move in the healthy person? And it really is a daily discussion with yourself on the decisions you make, because you're like, oh, it's just one thing here, it's just one thing here, but it really adds up. So just some food for thought, so to speak.
That's right.
Pun intended.
That's right.
I was just, we also talk about that the graph where it's, our years of life and our quality of life. And we're trying to square off that curve instead of it being like your quality of life goes down as you age, trying to square that curve so your quality of life maintains as you age. And then it squares that off. So yeah, I always thought that was a nice way to think about it too.
Live long, die quick. What are the
Bonnie says, I'm glad you're mentioning that the food industry is advertising plant-based, but many of the products are highly processed. And then Sarita Baker is here. Sarita tells us I've reduced 2 meds since I've gone vegan and also lost 9 pounds. Wow.
Congratulations.
Awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Here's a question. This is from Nikki. Any effective things I can do as a mom of 3 and the only whole food plant-based in the whole house? I think HH is whole house. My kids are 12, 11, 4, 5. I make dinner and it's whole food plant-based, but would like to further their compliance with this as well.
Yeah.
You want to take that, Dr. Lori?
Sure. So I went plant-based about 11 years ago. The kids were 13, 15, and 18 then, so now they're all old. And so the thing that was really interesting is you model the behavior, right? And so what we did to make it a little easier was at home we eat a whole food plant-based diet. There's no question. This is the food you get, is the food that's in the house. It's is, sorry guys, this is our house. We're paying the mortgage. This is what you get. And you're having them participate. You help them, ask them, hey, what are the menu items that you like? If there's a certain unhealthy food that they like, how can we make it healthier, but a plant-based version? But if you can really get them involved in the process of either growing their own food, shopping for their own food, planning the food menu, cooking the food, and building those cooking skills, because really we've turned over our kitchens to the big companies, or McDonald's and Burger Kings and whatever. So those are really important pieces. And then make it fun, right? And just teaching them the value of what they're doing. But kids really respond, I think, depending, for like my teenage boys, they responded to like Game Changers, right? So that was a great documentary. If you have a mother-in-law that lives with you, maybe you watch her watch Forks Over Knives with you, because it's talking about reducing medications. So it really is just getting what's important. So I have 3 children. The first one was like ethical vegan, gets it, food, planet, animals, totally, save a worm crossing on the sidewalk. He's all in. Then I have one that's like, it's just a healthier for me. This makes sense. And then I have another one's like, how can I eat something that's going to be detrimental to the planet that I'm living in and potentially future children? So, I've had 3 different conversations varying on what is important to them. So what is important to each of those little ones that you have, right? Is it they want to run faster? Do they want to be smarter? Well, start giving them evidence that shows that, right? Maybe they play sports. So, all 3 of my kids play sports. In high school, what is really key to being on the starting bench, or you're sitting waiting to maybe come into the game, is one skill. Okay, that just comes with practice and working hard. But how do you improve your skill? How do you improve your strength? This is a matter of recovery. So I will tell you, for example, Gabe, the youngest, when they do double headers. We lived in a small town. He'd pitch a game and then he'd catch a game right after. So these are 7 full innings in high school. And people are like, how does he do that? I was like, he's eating and he recovers fast. He's putting in the work to increase the skill set, but his recovery allows him to do more, to become more skilled. So you have decreased soreness, you have increased endurance, all of those things add up. So again, that would be my first suggestions. And I love, you guys have little people too. Love to hear more about that.
Those are wonderful suggestions. Thank you. Do either of you, Christina or Kelly, want to?
Yeah, I have 3 kids as well. My oldest and my second, when he was about 15, I think, I had him watch Game Changers. And one of the things he said to me was, in your heart, you really don't want something to be true, but in your head, you see it and it is true. So after that time, I was able to convert the whole house, and I stopped making 2 different meals. And I did that for about 4 months. And that was about 8 years ago or so. And so, educating them and showing them the reason why you're doing it is going to be the biggest push. Plus, they're going to do what you do. You're the mom and dad. I'm kind of like along the same lines as Dr. Marvis. I'm paying the mortgage. I get the groceries. This is what I'm serving. You get to eat it. But one of the fun things that happened in my youngest, who's now 17, he's a football player, and he's 6'3", 240. And he actually wanted a chef's knife for his 17th birthday so that he could cook. And so I think if you start to get interested in, it's a great thing. He actually does his carrots on the oblique, so it's cut long. So he chops his vegetables with this special knife that I got him for his birthday, and he makes a lot of his own food. I wish I could tell you he's 100% whole food, plant-based. He's not, but he eats really, really healthy. He doesn't eat processed packaged food, but he eats mostly plants in my house because he's huge and he eats a lot of food and he is a football player. So, but one of the things I did is just helping them get engaged in the kitchen. And so that would be, 12, 11, 4, and 5. Those are great ages to get them excited and have them. Making food is fun. And, one of the greatest gifts we can give our children is understanding how important real food is to us instead of eating out of a box. For our health, it's really, and then the other great thing that happens is when we sit around the dinner table and eat, great conversation happens, your relationships improve, you share stories. And it's just amazing how important that element of our lifestyle has kind of been pushed aside. We're too busy, we're running around, we're getting something out of a drive-through. When you really sit down at the dinner table, it really fosters great communication and relationship building. And so that's one of the things that was a side effect in our household that happened. And if you ask my older kids, they'll say, yeah, I remember eating at the dinner table all the time. So it's a beautiful thing if you can kind of help foster some of those habits for them as they age.
Awesome.
Only other thing I would add, I don't have kids, so I don't have the experience to share, but only other thing I would say is, especially in this culture that we're in, there's a lot of diet culture. And so I think another big reason to go whole food plant-based, and then also to promote that in our children, is that we can encourage them to nourish their bodies in a way that's going to be healthful. And so just thinking about it as this is like a yummy food that is nourishing us and helping us grow and helping us be strong and helping us be smarter and all of those things. So I really just love the way thinking about it as nourishing our bodies, because I don't think I ever thought about that growing up. So
well, and it's an interesting concept though to start implanting in our children versus, saying this food is bad, but just like food choices matter to make us feel better. But there's another piece to that, right? One in the longevity section. So we're going to help prevent our children. This is an investment in their future. You're decreasing their risk of type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension that's killing Americans, that's shortening our lifespan. The last 2-3 years, the American lifespan has decreased. Our life expectancy, our children are projected to live shorter lives than us. That's not okay. So, those are the pieces that we need to really think about. But also, when they start eating this food at home and then they go outside the home, don't put any restrictions on them. Let them go make their choices. That's what we did, and it worked really well, because what happens is they don't feel good when they eat the birthday cake. And they're like, wait, I ate ice cream and I didn't feel well. What happened there? So they're learning to become intuitive eaters. These are the foods that make me feel good. These are the foods that don't. And you don't have to do the heavy lifting there by putting in restrictions. This is literally you doing the foundation, 80% of the work, and then they'll figure out the rest. So just hang in there, Mama.
That's really interesting, Lori. I have 3 kids. I have an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And I myself started eating this way 6 years ago. So the kids were really small when I started eating this way. So I think smaller kids are more impressionable. Like, it's just like you said, like you give them this food and they know what they know. On the other hand, I love what you just said, because I also, outside of the home, I tell my kids, get whatever you want. And they sometimes get things that like horrify me and they try it and then they don't get it again, or they, it's like they're figuring it out. I also don't want that to be elusive, like food that they can never have. So that, like, what happened to me when I got to college, I was like, oh, I can get McDonald's every day. Like, there's no more rules. So let them have that once in a while, and just, I didn't even think about it, but help them sort of figure out how to become intuitive eaters. Because I have noticed that, like, they start gravitating toward, like, we'll be at a restaurant, I want rice and beans. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, I want rice and beans.
Yeah, Gabe was 13, right? And it took about a year. He was going chicken and steak, and we never had a lot of junk food in the house anyway. But the plants. But then he'd go, was like, suddenly he started ordering tofu. I'm like, all right then. I'm celebrating.
Awesome.
Like, you don't say anything. Do not say anything.
Say anything.
Because they're agreeing. Teenage boys. I'm just saying.
Good advice.
Celebrate inside doing jump. So.
All right, let's see. Nikki, you said, Dr. Lori, I think you have lived the life I'm currently in. Okay,
yes,
that's interesting.
You hang in there, Mama, is what I'm saying. It's not like you make it.
Hang in there. And then P2 said, I wish I had started plant-based early in life rather than at 60. And what I would say is, you're never too young or too old to start eating this way and experiencing the benefits. So good that you discovered it now. I think you're experiencing the benefits now.
My oldest patient was 89 when she got a diagnosis of lung cancer and had wonderful results. She still did traditional treatment, but she goes, the doctor couldn't get over how well she handled the chemo radiation. and she had no recurrence. I don't know, that was several years ago, but I've since moved on from that practice. But she embraced it and had great outcomes. So I'm sure it was a combination of both, but just don't feel bad. Just be thankful that you did find this and yet you're moving forward. Never
That's right.
regret it. Never regret, oh, I wish. You didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. So
Yeah.
it's all good. You are here now and we're embracing you. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see any other. Kimberly says that's such a good advice. I like the idea of not putting, I think you meant not putting restrictions on the kiddos.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any closing words from all of you? And then I think we're going to wrap up. And
Yeah, I would say again, you guys, we really appreciate you spending time with us because we know there's lots of places you could be.
that's right.
That's scrolling through Instagram, watching the cute little videos, whatever. But we really appreciate you. And like I said, this is really important to help us get the word out because we are a new practice. And for us to continue to provide practice, we've gone through months and months of getting credentialed in insurance so we can be on Medicare, Medi-Cal, Aetna, UHC, you name it, Blue Cross Blue Shield in those states, hiring wonderful, physicians and PAs. We just want to help as many people as possible. So we need you to help us get in front of those folks.
That's right.
So please share the message. And I cannot tell you how much that means to us. And we really are working hard to provide the care that you need and want. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, I just want to thank everyone as well. I want to thank my colleagues for being here today. I want to thank all of you that are watching, will be watching. This will be recorded, and we're going to be here weekly. We're going to be here weekly to answer your questions about lifestyle medicine, about living a healthy life, and how we can support you in doing that and living the life that you want. So please join us, and we'll have variety of our colleagues will be coming and answering questions and visiting every week. All right.
100%.
All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.